Albert Brooks, Defending Your Life. This film is a documentary. It's currently available on Max. The audio description is directed by Rob Reiner. Yeah, I know, right? Weird. Uh, Rob has had one heck of a career, either like as an actor, as a producer, as a writer, and as a director. It's a very interesting career that he's had. Um, and he decided to make a documentary about Albert Brooks, which I thought was interesting. I like Albert Brooks. I came into Albert's career sort of obviously midway. I didn't even know half the stuff in this documentary about him, about his origins and the shows he'd been on and all of the sort of groundbreaking comedy that he was able to do back in the day. I feel like I learned so much about Albert Brooks, somebody who I just kind of remember him doing films in the 90s. I remember going back and watching broadcast news and being like, oh my God, this film is terrific. There's a little film that he did with Lily Sobieski called My First Mister, where I thought he was fantastic in that. And it's a little indie film that nobody saw. And I was like, man, he's great in this. And just like nothing. Obviously, I'm of the little mindset that he missed out on his Oscar nomination for Drive. I think he played an excellent villain in that. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Albert Brooks. I would really love to see him get more recognition, but c'est la vie, right? But he did get a documentary about himself, and obviously he was in the film Defending Your Life with Meryl Streep, and so it kind of made sense to have him use that as the title to this film, where he kind of talks about all of the things that he's done throughout his career, all the experiences that he's had and gone through. And a lot of people come in and chime in throughout the film. It's a little bit of a talking head / archival footage documentary that goes as far back as we can go with Albert Brooks and his brand of humor. And it's very interesting. It's very different, especially from this time period. And I can see why he kind of, he was never offered like a Saturday Night Live cast member spot or anything like that. But he was constantly on talk shows, just being funny, just being himself. And had, I guess for the time period, very subversive comedy. And the way he presented it too wasn't necessarily obvious comedy. He wasn't trying to trip all over himself. He just sort of had a way of doing it, which he talks about how he didn't really rehearse a lot of what he did. He just kind of had an idea and went for it. It would go on like Johnny Carson and just do something he hadn't rehearsed before and hadn't really polished. And that was sort of the charm of it all, was how he kind of bumbled through. Like he knew it was funny, and he just trusted that it would work, and it just ended up working out for him 99% of the time. I was kind of fascinated. I just didn't. There's this whole other person that I didn't know anything about, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Obviously just because age, I wasn't around for all of this stuff, so yeah, I just had no idea. And some of this stuff is described. I think with documentaries like this, with talking head documentaries, which is what this is basically, there are a lot of people who pop in and out. I don't feel like I knew everybody who was talking, and that's kind of where I start to judge the audio description for a documentary film that is crafted like this. Is who is this? And why are they important? Like, why are they talking? Why should I care? Like, who is this person and why do I care? And I feel like of the people who come in to chime into the Albert Brooks film, not always do we get the 2 seconds to say who somebody is, at least at some point in the film. Maybe you can't get it the first time that somebody speaks, but I'd love to know by the end everybody who spoke. I feel like I'm not asking for a lot there. I feel like that's an attainable goal. I think that there are places and little breaks. And otherwise, I just like anybody could come in. Like I could have been in the Albert Brooks documentary. They could have interviewed me. Do I have a right to comment on Albert Brooks's life? Like, should I be? I don't know him. We've never met. But if Rob Reiner asked me, I could have been in the documentary, just sitting there and being like, yeah, this is, Albert really brought a lot of contribution to comedy, and he kind of changed the game. And then there's my voice is in the film, and people are like, who is that? What is he? Who's that guy? I don't know. I think like we're expected a lot as blind people to just have some sort of superhuman ability when it comes to vocal recognition, and we just don't. I just don't. Like sometimes I do. Sometimes somebody, it's such an obvious voice, and that person has such a notable, iconic voice, where you come in and I'm like, oh, that's Chris Rock. I was kind of like, why is Chris Rock in this documentary? Because I was trying to think of when did Albert Brooks and Chris Rock work together. But it's definitely Chris Rock. But not everybody's Chris Rock. Not everybody has that instantly recognizable tone to their voice. And even for that, not everybody's a Chris Rock fan. So I assume that everybody would recognize Chris Rock's voice, but I don't know that everybody would. It's very interesting. So I would love to hear more of that. But I'd love to hear that really, and that's a note for all future Talking Head documentaries. Try to get that in there, and especially for the ones where the people aren't famous. Why are they talking? Why do they matter? What is their expertise? What was their relation to the subject matter? So many Talking Head documentaries are not able to, they feel like they can't interject, but at the same time, I hate to say talk over the damn film, but it's so hard in some documentaries when they have people who are coming in offering their expertise, and we never know why their expertise matters. So it's something I think we as a community have to come together and decide how do we want Talking Head documentaries to appear to us, because a lot of them, something like this, where I'm just learning more about Albert Brooks, I don't even know that there needed to be talking heads. Probably could have made it through the whole film without anybody else's opinion on Albert Brooks. Rob Reiner could have just narrated the damn thing, and Albert could have talked about his life, and no one else needed to ever talk. I'm glad that other people did, because it shows that a community of people came together, and he's well liked and respected for what he does. But I don't know that it was necessary. But for some other documentaries, it is necessary. For some other documentaries, you need people to come in and explain things, and explain like the science or the reasoning behind something or the legality of something. And if I don't know who those people are, then I'm just like, who is this person? Who's this random person that's just telling me this stuff? And why should I care? And sometimes I never find out. And it really totally affects my ability to understand and process a film. If somebody's trying to tell me something and I don't know what their expertise level is or why are they here. At least when you click on my channel, oh, this is Mac Movie Guy. He's obviously movie oriented. If my channel was vague, and you just started hearing me talk about some stuff, you'd be like, where are his credentials? Why is he talking to me about the space-time continuum? Like, what is this guy with the YouTube channel talking about, black holes? And when does he have a degree? Is he just some guy on YouTube? I don't know. I do have a film degree. I just don't put it behind me on camera. But, I don't know. We got to figure this stuff out, because this film, there were some people who were talking, I was like, I don't know who this is. I guess I'll never find out. So yeah, that was, that's sort of an interesting thing. And of course, they're always working around the contracts from these studios, and they can't ever talk about why they did or didn't include anything, because everybody's under an NDA. So, it just makes, like, when you sign an NDA that makes you look like an idiot, it feels like the company is just, like the studio that put it together is, they're like, well, we're going to put this on you, because we're going to let the public assume that you're bad at your job, even though we've put these limitations and we don't want these people named in the thing. That could be very true. That could be very true, that the team behind. I want to say this is Max Original, but I don't want to say so. We'll just say WBD. We'll say the team at WBD might have sent when they were creating audio description to say, don't name anybody. And then make people sign NDAs that then it just makes them look like they're bad at describing documentaries. It's just like, we don't know who they are. We don't acknowledge who they are. Could be anybody speaking, but they're forbidden from acknowledging them. That could be a very real possibility. Just like I know some other films, there have been some cases where there's been some stuff where I've assumed the problem has been with the audio description, and then I come to find out that no, that's the studio forbid people to talk about this thing, or they wanted something addressed this way, and what's actually being created by the studio is they're creating a rift between a blind audience and a sighted audience. Instead of creating a bridge, they're creating a rift, which is audio description is supposed to create a bridge. I'm supposed to be able to sit next to my sighted friend, and we're supposed to have as close to a similar experience as humanly possible. When you omit things that a sighted audience would understand, would know, then you're actually saying that the blind audience does not deserve to have the experience of the sighted viewer. So it's actually creating a second-class citizen just simply by putting those little things into your demands from an audio description company. So I'm criticizing it, but there's always a possibility in the back of my mind when I say something like this that said, don't name these people in audio description. But yet, if I was sighted and I recognize these people, I'd be like, oh, that's who that is. Oh, I know who that is. Oh, that's who that is. Bam. There might even be text on the screen that has their names underneath it, and like what film they did with Albert Brooks, or what they're known for, Chris Rock, comedian, I might say that. I don't know because I can't see. So, but if I was with somebody who could, and they were having this totally different experience, then suddenly we've had two totally different, and we talk about the film later on, and then they're finding out just how much I missed, and then they feel bad that I missed all this stuff. Whenever I watch something that doesn't have audio description with a friend or a family member at this point in my life, they know that I'm out here advocating for audio description, and they just feel bad that the thing that they want to watch doesn't have audio description. And this is the world that is created by studios. So even though it feels like I'm on a tangent, I'm really not. Because if I'm sitting here in a film and I'm sitting here with somebody who doesn't necessarily know or recognize everyone who's ever been an actor or director or comedian or whatever, and they're trying to tell me who's in the Albert Brooks documentary, which is exactly what happened, then they don't know. They're like, I don't know. Oh, they were in that one. Oh, what film were they in? They did that film with the... Then I get that. I get that for the whole film because they're trying to make it up and they're trying to do the best that they can, but they're doing they're doing somebody else's job. So get your shit together. Either the people who did this film or WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, one of the two people associated with this film. We gotta start figuring shit out, and we have to, like, this isn't fun anymore. It's not funny. It's not cute. It's obnoxious. I'm tired of being in situations, and I'm not the only one who has sighted friends. We don't live in a commune. But we didn't all just like leave our homes and be like, oh damn, I lost my vision. I gotta go live in the blind commune in Wyoming. Like we don't all just live together in some weird commune where we just bounce into each other and just whatever you think is happening out there. That's not what this is. It's like, I know sighted people all the time, and they're constantly worried that I don't follow or understand things. And I'm like, if there was just... It's like, it's so frustrating to understand that there is accessibility that could be here right now in this moment, and other people wouldn't have to be so worried or concerned about me, and feel bad for having suggested something that doesn't have accessibility in the first place, and just putting it out there. And we can close the gap. We really can. We can bridge this gap. It is totally possible, but we have to have open conversations. We have to stop having audio description teams sign NDAs that don't expire when the film releases. I understand an NDA that prevents them from discussing plot points of a film before it comes out. But after the project has come out, why is there still an NDA? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. Why is there a non-disclosure agreement that extends past the release of the film? Once the general public is able to watch the film and we know what the twists and turns are, why is there still a non-disclosure agreement? I understand it up to the point of the film's release. We don't want somebody giving away the twist of the new Marvel film. Be like, oh, so-and-so dies at the end. What? Like, we don't want that. But at the same time, when these people sign NDAs that last in perpetuity and they can't discuss the fact that they worked on a film, why can't they? What are you so worried that they'll discuss, that they'll reveal, that they'll talk about? The existence of audio description for a film that is not using the audio description track? What are you so concerned about? Anyway, so I'm not crazy about this audio description. I don't know if it's the team, if it's WBD. This wasn't great audio description. The film was pretty good. This is directed by Reiner, who's directed literally my favorite film, which is The American President. So obviously he came and represented. So I respect that a lot. And that's it. So I'm a big fan of Albert Brooks, was before, I am afterwards. Sadly, that audio description actually affects my grade a little bit, because I would have loved to know who these people were that were commenting, and you get a fraction, like a tiny fraction of the people, and not everybody, and it's frustrating. So I'm gonna give Albert Brooks Defending Your Life an A-. It's been a good year, actually, for documentaries about people. Everybody from Michael J. Fox to Winona Judd. We've had some really interesting documentaries about people. I have a feeling none of them will be nominated at the Oscars. Oscars, they just don't really seem to go this direction. That was the problem with the David Bowie film from last year, was it did so well, and then the Oscars were like, no, we turn our noses up at this. Where's that film about the birds? Where'd the bird film go? Let's nominate that. Nobody watched it, but we're going to nominate it. Let's All That Breathes. Yes, we'll nominate that instead. So, yeah, this is the type of film they don't nominate. So, we could release hundreds of them a year, and they'll never nominate them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And please click that subscribe button. I am trying to pass 200 before the end of the year. I'm, for some reason, losing people. I'm going in the other direction. So that would be great if we could go back so I can pass 200 and go way above it, because apparently I dropped back down. So let's go comfortably above 200 so that in case people unsubscribe, I stay above 200 as of January 1st. Anyway, so that'd be great. Anyway, thanks for watching. I have a website, MacTheMovieGuy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, or Instagram at MacTheMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what is audio description, where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it. I will let you go and see you guys on the other side.